Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call.
Councilor Armand Mercia.
Present.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Ramirez.
Present.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Councilor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Donahue. Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
9 present.
9 present. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the December 12th meeting for acceptance. Motion to approve the minutes by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Ramirez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Under unfinished business, we have continuation of a public hearing from last week from National Grid, a petition for a conduit in Hall Street. I believe that's the only petition. Anybody here wishing to speak in favor? We'll reopen the public hearing.
Good evening, David Boucher, National Grid Design Technician out of North Andover. I'm here on behalf of National Grid to ask the City of Lowell to place 2 poles on Hall Street, as shown on the diagram. What this would enable us to do is to straighten our pole line out on that street and also remove a number of poles that are feeding a business there. A parking lot, I believe, is what might be going in. I was filled in on this today at around 2 p.m., so this is via the engineer that designed it. But if the City of Lowell sees fit, it would enable us to go ahead and place two new poles as shown in the diagram.
Thank you. Any question? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this matter? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. It's the wish of the council.
Refer to the wire inspector.
Motion to refer to the wire inspector by Councilor Rita Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the wire inspector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could I stop you just 1 second? I was also told that you'd be addressing something on Belmont. Is that incorrect, the information?
That was
You did
that
take
was
care of
done
it
last week. Yep.
And what was it referred to the wire inspectors?
It
All right,
usually
thank you.
takes a week or 2 to process from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Mr. Mayor, could I please ask a question to the
Yeah.
gentleman? When National Grid removes a pole, who fills that hole? Is it your responsibility or the city's?
It's ours. We have a crew that will fill it, with whatever it might be. You know, I mean, concrete.
Evidently on Chestnut Street, they failed to fill the holes, and the city had to fill those holes. And people were complaining because someone could get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want anyone to step into that. It could hurt their leg or whatever.
Chestnut Street and that area there, but it's all right. It's been taken care of, but I wish that they would
Yeah.
do that in a timely fashion.
We try to, obviously. We don't want anyone getting hurt by any means.
Right.
But if it continues to happen, and you can address it to our business service representative. But I'll mention it to him tomorrow.
Right.
When I
Thank
see him.
you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda are communications from the city manager, responses to council motions and requests. There are several in the packet. Any questions or comments on any of the matters? Okay, a motion to accept the request placed on file by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The communication is accepted, placed on file. Next item is a communication from the city manager accepting the resignation of Janice Mahoney in the Council on Aging. We have a letter from the city manager. Dear Ms. Mahoney, this letter acknowledges receipt of your letter dated December 11, 2006, in which you resign as a board member of the Council of Aging of the City of Lowell, effective December 13, 2006. Your resignation is hereby accepted. I am filing your resignation, and this acceptance thereof this date with the city clerk as required by law, and also forwarding a copy as a communication to the city council. The city of Lowell appreciates your years of service, and most recently as a member of the Council on Aging, and on its behalf, I hereby extend thanks. Very truly yours, Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Motion to accept the communication placed on file by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Ramirez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The communication is accepted. Next item is a communication from the city manager, concerning the Lowell Housing Authority appointment of Mark Payton. Dear Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, pursuant to the authority vested in me as city manager under Mass General Laws, Chapter 121B, Section 5, I am appointing Mark Payton of 112 Shaw Street, Lowell, Mass. 01851, as a member of the Lowell Housing Authority as the labor appointee thereto, effective January 1st, 2007. This appointment shall be for 5 years, expiring December 31st, 2011, or such time thereafter as a successor is appointed and qualified. Confirmation by the City Council is required for this appointment and is hereby requested. I would be happy to answer any inquiries you may have concerning this appointment. Very truly yours, Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to comment on Commissioner Bob McMahon, to tell you that he did an outstanding job, and I know firsthand of his tremendous service to the Lowell Housing Authority, having gone to many events taking place there, summer barbecues and picnics, and wherever I seemed to be, he was always there. The people loved him, and I know that we all received numerous signatures from Father Norton Manor and Francis Gatehouse and the tenant council president's cover letter, and everybody cared deeply for him. I know that firsthand, and I want to thank him for all his 5 years of service. And I know that it was a difficult choice for you. I know that when I look at the list and see Frank McKinney, I know the father, I know Frank McKinney, the son, I know this family. They're a tremendous family, so no matter who you chose would have been an asset to the Housing Authority. Brian McMahon, a fine gentleman, fine officer. And Mark Payton, I've known him for many, many years. I've known him when he was a commissioner. I just want to tell you that it's deeply tough for me to make this decision, because I always am under the philosophy that when people are doing a fine job, you don't remove them. But that's my opinion. It isn't my choice. It's your choice. So in this respect, I am voting present to not throw any bad light on Mark Payton, because I know him personally. He's a great, great individual. But I do feel bad that a person donated so much of their time, and I know they don't get compensated for it, but I truly know that he did a tremendous job. So having said that, I hope that we can establish some sort of a letter and thank him. I also feel bad because I know he would have liked to have been reappointed, but that's not my call, it's yours. So I just want to know, did you receive any encouragement from the Lowell Housing Authority director to which person should be selected?
Mr. Manager.
Councilor, no, I did not receive. I received input from other people, tenants at the Housing Authority, that were pleased with Mr. Payton's activities before when he was on the Housing Authority. I did not receive any communications from the executive director or anyone employed by the Housing Authority. And I share your sentiments regarding the difficult choice that I had to make. All of these people are outstanding individuals, and were very impressive during the interview process. I spent a considerable amount of time with each one, and I was very impressed with all, and it was a very difficult choice. I had some of these people I'd met for the first time, but a couple of them I'd known previously, and they were all outstanding individuals, so I had to make the choice I felt was in the best interest of the Housing Authority.
So how did these individuals know of your choice? How did you tell them?
There's letters that are going out to all of them. If they haven't already received them, they will receive them. They should have received them by today.
So you sent letters out that
Yes.
this isn't the first time they find out about it from from the
letters
newspaper,
there should be letters that have gone out.
before it got into the newspaper?
Again, I can't control what, when the packets go out on Friday, the paper gets a copy of them as well, so.
I think maybe if I want to know something, I should just call the Sun and say, what's up?
Council,
Thank
that's
you.
often how I find out about things as well, so.
I'm calling you, Chris. Thank you.
Councilor Milonazo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Truly, it is a difficult decision. In fact, during the week, I heard questions about what my position was going to be. What is Jim Milonazo going to do? How's he going to vote? In fact, I even heard this evening coming into the chamber that I guess it was fodder on the local radio station this week, speculating as well what I was going to do. But what I'd like to say is that it's true that at the end of my 9-year tenure as executive director of the Lowell Housing Authority, Mark Payton was part of a group that actually ended my career at the Housing Authority. It was a difficult time for me and for my family, but jobs like those have a normal life cycle, and I stayed longer than most, for which I was very grateful. I did love that job, the people I worked with, and the residents. I know that the commissioners and I accomplished a great deal on behalf of the residents during my 9 years there. But I have to say honestly that during the majority of my time working with Mark Payton, he was a good commissioner. He cared for the residents. I remember him going out of his way to attend events at each development site, and he was very supportive of some very innovative ideas and programs, not the least of which was Julian Steele. I think those programs are actually making a positive difference in the lives of the residents today. So for those reasons, I'm going to put my personal differences with Mark aside and support the recommendation of the city manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I've known Mark Payton for years. But I've known Bob McMahon for decades. He and I go way back. He worked at Raytheon, so did I. I listened to Bob McMahon on the local radio station this past Monday, and he was nothing but class, no ill will towards anyone. He did the job the past 5 years, and his leadership and his vision with the Julian Steele housing project was certainly noticed. I have never received so many signatures or petitions. Father Norton Manor, Francis Gate, many phone calls at home. It not only tells me that the people who reside at the Lowell Housing Authority respected Bob McMahon and his dedication. Bob McMahon is the type of individual who rolls up the sleeves, goes out and does the job, gets it done with no fanfare. Larry Doherty was an outstanding commissioner. He did extraordinary things for the youth of the Lowell Housing Authority. Jimmy Hall did. They weren't reappointed. Someone else had taken their position. If Bob McMahon's name was in front of me, I would certainly vote for him, but it's not. Mark Payton is there before me. I've known Mark for years. I will vote for Mark Payton and let the Lowell Housing Authority move on in a very positive way, and I wish Bob McMahon good health and speed. And Mr. Manager, I know that you will send him a letter of gratitude on behalf not only of this council, but of the hundreds and hundreds of people who who reside rather, at the Lowell Housing Authority, and his dedication over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Donahue?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This vote, as others in the past, is a manager's recommendation. We don't choose this vote. We have to confirm it or ratify it. For all the time that I've been sitting here, as long as I have no reason to doubt that the person is fit to serve, I've consistently voted in favor of whomever the manager recommends. As Councilor Caulfield has brought out, that includes people who had served and were not reappointed, both by the other two managers that I've worked with over the years. So unless there's some reason not to ratify the recommendation, it does make it difficult if all four people are equally or qualified. But we are not in a position that we can reach behind the list. We can only vote it up or down. So I know of no reason not to support the recommendation as a person fit to serve as a commissioner. This individual did serve previously. So I intend to support the recommendation. I don't sit and interview the people, the manager does, and so, again, as has been my practice in the past, if that's the recommendation, if I have no other independent knowledge that this is an inappropriate appointment, then I intend to support the recommendation.
Thank you. Anything further? Roll call.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Abstain.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Present.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield.
Yes.
Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas, 1 present, 1 absent.
7 yeas. Appointment is confirmed. Next item is a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift of $100 from the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce to be used for the holiday reception at City Hall, whereas the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce wishes to donate a gift of $100 to be used for the holiday reception at City Hall, and whereas the city of Lowell desires to accept the gift of said $100 to be used for the holiday reception, now therefore be it voted that the city manager be and hereby is authorized in the name of the city of Lowell to accept a gift of $100 to be used for costs and expenses associated with the holiday reception held on December 14, 2006 at City Hall pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53A. Second reading by title, a vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift of $100 from the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce to be used for the holiday reception at City Hall. Any questions? Before we have the roll call, if I could just say, I would personally like to thank not only the Chamber, but the others who supported this event, including Comcast and the Senior Center, who played a special role. Santa Claus, who was in attendance, despite this being his busy time of year. Santa Claus bears a strong resemblance to Scott Myers, who's a local resident here. The Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra, who sent a group of their performers to entertain, and the SRO players who did their usual tremendous job at the reception, as well as my cousin Pat, who was in attendance. So any further questions? Roll call, please.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield.
Yes.
Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
9 days.
9 yeas, vote is approved. The next item is an order designating the intersection of Mammoth Road and Wellworth Street in the city of Lowell as George M. Hubert Memorial in honor of George M. Hubert. Whereas the city is desirous of honoring George M. Hubert, now therefore it is ordered that the City Council of the City of Lowell, that the intersection of Mammoth Road and Wellworth Street in the City of Lowell is hereby designated a George M. Hubert Memorial in honor of George M. Hubert. Second reading by title, in order designating the intersection of Mammoth Road and Wellworth Street in the City of Lowell, George M. Hubert Memorial in honor of George M. Hubert. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. George M. Hubert, outstanding citizen, outstanding veteran of the United States of America. George M. Hubert, Sergeant, U.S. Army, World War II, entered May 5th, 1943 to December 20th, 1945. Served in the European Campaign of Normandy, Northern France, Rhineland, Ardennes. Awards, the Victory Medal, Purple Heart, Good Conduct Medal, European, African, Middle Eastern Theater Campaign Ribbon, and Combat Infantryman Badge. And Joseph Dussault has recommended to the family that they should apply for the Bronze Star Medal after he received the Combat Infantry Badge. An outstanding veteran, citizen of our city, and the family will be extremely honored if this is voted on this evening in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez. Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield.
Yes.
Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
8 yeas, the vote is approved. Next item is an order designating the intersection of Appleton Street and Favor Street in the city of Lowell as a Francis J. McInerney Memorial in honor of Francis J. McInerney, whereas the city is desirous of honoring Francis J. McInerney. Now, therefore, it is ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell that the intersection of Appleton Street and Favor Street in the city of Lowell is hereby designated Francis J. McInerney Memorial in honor of Francis J. McInerney. Second reading by title, an order designating the intersection of Appleton Street and Favor Street in the city of Lowell, Francis J. McInerney Memorial in honor of Francis J. McInerney. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Second.
Motion approved by Councilor Caulfield, second by Councilor Rita Mercier. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Francis McInerney, U.S. Air Force career, entered March 1st, 1954 to February 14th, 1956, served the 6th Construction Squadron, awards the National Defense Medal. Mr. McInerney served this country with pride and distinction, but more importantly, when he came home, he served the citizens of this great city. Worked tirelessly with Buddy Flynn, Big Brother, Big Sister, worked with the Owl Diner Charities, and the family requested just a little corner by the Owl Diner to be named after Frank McInerney, his love and passion, and the family would be extremely proud if that happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott.
I concur with Councilor Caulfield and won't reiterate everything that he said, but Frank was very proud of his city. He always enjoyed local politics and participated in it, and as Councilor Caulfield mentioned, just jumped in it, to work for any good cause in the city, especially the Owl Diner Charities. And he did enjoy. He was very proud of his family and his son, and I'm sure they'll be very grateful to dedicate this square in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you. For roll call.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Ramirez.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
The next item is the quarterly traffic ordinance. Is there a motion to waive the first full reading by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Ramirez? All those in favor of waiving the first full reading say aye. Any opposed? The first full reading is waived. This matter is to be referred to a public hearing on January 9th. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, with respect to Chapter 13 thereof, entitled Motor Vehicles and Traffic. Motion is so refer to a public hearing by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Ramirez. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to a public hearing on January 9th. Next item is an appropriation transfer in order to meet fixed charges and current expenses for the City of Lowell for the year 2006-2007 is ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the amount of $30,000 is hereby appropriated to Parks and Recreation Department, repair and service equipment, the amount of $7,500, and to Parks and Recreation Department to improve parks and playgrounds, $22,500, for a total of $30,000. And in order to provide for such appropriation, the above amount is hereby transferred for said purpose from Parks and Recreation Department salary and wages permanent, the amount of $30,000, to provide funds to cover the anticipated shortfall in both accounts due to servicing the fleet of park vehicles and vandalism at Perry Playground and other playground sites. Order recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Second reading by title, an appropriation transfer in the amount of $30,000 to Parks and Recreation, repair and service equipment, $7,500, and Parks and Recreation, improve parks and playgrounds, $22,500, for a total of $30,000. From Parks and Recreation Department salaries and wages permanent, $30,000. Questions? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real briefly, I'm going to support this, Mr. Manager. Has there been a rash of vandalism in the parks that we're transferring this money, or was it underfunded, particularly for the improved parks and playgrounds?
It's been primarily, according to Mr. Bellegarde, it's been the vandalism that's occurred there, as well as some playground equipment that needed to be replaced due to safety reasons.
Okay. Did we end, I know that we had received a report at Councilor Donohue's request relative to the city receiving a grant from the state. Where are we with that process, and has the money already been?
Well, that's, Council, I believe that's the $450,000 that we received earlier this year,
Right.
and we moved forward with that project based upon the information we received from the state. That money, unfortunately, was part of the 9C cuts that the governor made about a month and a half ago. So we're about, I want to say we're about $350,000 into that, and we're working with our legislators to have that money reinstated.
Okay, I guess that wasn't the question that the answer I wanted to hear. So we proceeded with spending that money before we received it? Is that what you're saying? Or we proceeded with projects that we had thought we were going to get that grant for?
We spent it on projects we expected to get that grant for. We were informed that the money was there, was earmarked for the city of Lowell, that we would be receiving it this fiscal year. We were scheduled to receive it in the December-January timeframe when the governor moved to remove it from the budget.
So where are we going to get the money for that?
Well, right now we're moving forward with the anticipation that money will be coming in later this year with a supplemental budget by the legislature. If that does not happen, then we'll have to find other resources within the budget or move forward with some borrowing.
Okay, the second part of my question was, can we get a report year-to-date? We'll be midway through the fiscal year, where we are with our expenditures, and naturally concerned with overtime, and luckily snow and ice. I hope we haven't had to spend a lot, and we'll make it through. But just year-to-date, where we're at with our expenditures, and no, I know I'm not hoping for any snow. Just update us where we are with
Yes.
that. Okay.
We will, one of the actions that we intend to take, one of the steps is that we want to provide the council with a financial report on a quarterly basis. We're coming up on December 31st. Soon after that date, Mr. Moses will prepare a report that will be provided to the council on where we are year to date in terms of our expenditures as well as our revenues.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been keeping an eye, Mr. Manager. I went by in Gage Field, come out absolutely gorgeous, and Hadley Field. And I must say that the Parks Department is going above and beyond. Excellent work. Everything is detailed. Fenway Park couldn't look better than Hadley Field right now. And there's not a piece of sod down on the infields. It's beautiful. And it's a credit to the Parks Department. But that's all being done in the house, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Right. Absolutely excellent work.
It's, if I may, Councillor, it's a joint effort of certainly the Parks is taking the lead, but the DPW is as well, is providing assistance to that project. Some of the money, in fact, that, I mentioned some of the repair work that we needed at some of the playground equipment and some of the vandalism issues we've had, but also a portion of this money is also being allocated in so that we can complete some of the, for instance, at Gage Field, there's a soccer field there that's in desperate need of irrigation. So in tying it in, it makes sense to do it now while we've got that area dug up out at Gage Field to extend the irrigation line out to deal with the soccer field out there as well. So that whole area will be totally redone at the end.
An outstanding job, really.
Any objection for me asking a question up from here? Mr. Manager, I know several of us had different complaints on 2 different weekends about the field at Calorie Park, and I know some of this money is being appropriated for those repairs. And I know you said at the last meeting the police were going to look at increasing patrols. Do we know what their plan is or what they've done to date at Calorie Park?
Mr. Mayor, we have moved forward with the police department stepping up patrols in that area. We've also taken care of the graffiti that we had there, and we've ordered a floodlight to be installed at the park to increase the visibility for the police as they patrol that area. We're also working with the police department to look at a camera that can be installed there, remote camera, so that we can do off-site surveillance. But we, in the short term, we have increased the amount of park and walks in the location, and we'll be continuing to do that into the future. I am happy to report that there wasn't any vandalism this past weekend, and we're certainly, given the weather, it was certainly a possibility that that would occur, but we're fortunate, and we believe the police department's increased visibility in the area has had a positive effect.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Roll call.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Ramirez.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield.
Yes.
Counselor Donahue.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas, the transfer is approved. Next item on the agenda are subcommittee reports. Any subcommittee reports? Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a marketing subcommittee meeting last evening, and it was well attended. The manager, DPD, we had a representative from Cool, LZ Nunn, Chris Samaras, the downtown coordinator, a representative from National Park, Terry McCarthy, Tommy McKay, and Peter Lally from the Mill City Management over at the auditorium. Deb Belanger was there from CVB, Jim Cook representing the Lowell Plan and the LDFC, and Lynn Lupian for the Western Ave Artists Association, I believe it is. It's WASA. It was a good meeting to try and establish what the city's doing for marketing, and essentially to try and come up with a coordinated, efficient marketing effort. As we know, money's tight, and there are more than likely going to be some cuts, we thought it'd be a good idea to get a handle on what we're doing. But first off, we have to establish what we want to do, but first we have to establish what we're doing currently, and then go forward, establish a goal. What is going to be the goal of the marketing? How much are we going to spend, and how are we going to accomplish our goal? And basically, it's going to be the manager's job to present that plan, but we're going to obviously have to vote on funding it. Basically, what we found out is that everybody's willing to participate, and there are all kinds of avenues that we currently don't use in terms of coordinating the different entities and websites and electronic media and things of that nature, trying to get the Lowell Sun involved, LTC, WCAP, all the local media, and pool together the resources. We'll have much better buying power, and hopefully be able to get more for our buck, because the city spends $250,000 on its own through DPD. But in total, we give out close to $1 million that's used to bring tourists and people to the city. So the goal is, I think, to capture the most we can out of that, the CVB traffic and the auditorium success. So at the end of the meeting, Councilor Donahue made a motion to request the manager collect data and report on basically 3 issues. How is the city appropriation spent within the organizations that receive money? How much of the organization's budget is spent on marketing, and where are the dollars spent? And what is the economic benefit to the city? Basically, so we can get a handle on where we're spending with the duplicative dollars, where money is being duplicate and basically not efficient. And we're going to try to get a meeting together sometime the beginning of February. The manager thought would be timely. And at that meeting, we're hopefully going to get the Downtown Business Association, Songus Arena, SMG, LTC, the Lowell Sun, WCAP, UML, Chamber, and any of the other people in the area that would like to participate. The more the merrier, and the more ideas we come up with, I think the better. So it was a successful first meeting, and we look forward to moving forward to find out what we can do. Also, Jim Cook of the Lowell Plan is pledged to the Lowell Plan's support, financial, in some form in the marketing endeavor. So it will be a nice kick to get the private-public partnership going, and hopefully, again, it's all in the effort of being more efficient and at least getting, if not saving money, getting a better bang for our buck. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on that report, Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a member of this subcommittee, and what I stated last night, I'll state this evening. If the auditorium is successful, then the city will be successful. I think they averaged 250 shows last year, and that's a domino effect in the restaurant business and downtown and so forth. I can remember when the auditorium was good for two things: collecting cobwebs, and they had the Golden Gloves and graduation there. And through the efforts of Mill City management and their expertise, they've made that a tremendous facility with a very positive outlook for the city. So, and the Convention and Business Bureau, I mean, we invested $100,000 last year. They brought in $9 million to the economy. So those two things are home runs as far as I can see. But I'm willing to look at the further stats and work with the subcommittee and everyone involved and see if we can make it a lot better.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you. I think that's a good point Councilor Caulfield makes, that obviously we have individual organizations that are being successful at what they do. I think the goal is to try and get them all together so that we can maximize, because we're getting stats on what's being brought in, but if we don't have stores open and things aren't coordinated, we're not getting the full effect of the success of the arena, the auditorium, and CVB's events. So I think it's not to take away from their success. They've done their job, but I think our job is to put it all together and maximize it for all the organizations and and for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Donahue.
Thank you. Councilor Broderick, the chair of the committee, gave a good report as far as what transpired. I think it's important to look at this. When the city started a marketing campaign, it's almost 10 years ago now, and at the time the city was committing $250,000 a year for marketing the city, and it was really an image marketing campaign that was pretty successful. But today, as we know, dollars are scarce, tax dollars, and we have to be very careful and prudent how we spend money. But yet the need to continue to market the city, be it from businesses, restaurants, culture, you name it, and I have a subcommittee coming up shortly on culture, remains the same, if not greater, but the same amount of money we're putting in today in terms of a direct marketing campaign, $250,000 rather. In order to buy the same amount of advertising, you'd have to spend almost $1 million today, $900,000 we were told last night. So you can see why it's important that we take stock and take inventory. What we're spending, what others are spending, where we're spending it, and are we getting the best advantage in today, and we'll say 2007 dollars. And so I look forward to the reports and working on the subcommittee, because I do think it's an important function that the city can or try to provide to benefit economically the entire city and increase tax revenues and so forth. So I look forward to that report, but we do need to carefully scrutinize every dollar spent.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The report is accepted. Further subcommittee reports, Councilor Donahue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The cultural subcommittee met this evening, and the purpose was to receive from Mount Auburn Associates, the consultant hired by the Lowell plan, really an update or a report of progress as to what they have been doing. My colleagues and those listening at home may recall that the Lowell plan, and I want to take a moment to thank the Lowell plan for funding this study. Sometimes we overlook their contribution, and the Lowell plan is funding a consultant to look at and update Lowell's cultural plan. We've talked about this several months ago. And the cultural plan for Lowell hadn't been done for over 20 years. What we had was outdated. And this is an offshoot of the cultural task force that was formed by then Councilor, then Mayor Armand Mercier. And it's actually over a year and a half now that task force was formed. And the purpose was to look at the cultural community and look at culture as an industry in the city of Lowell and generating jobs, tax revenues, and so forth, and take a serious look at that. As a result of the task force, the Lowell plan generously offered to fund this study by Mount Auburn Associates, hired the consultants, and so they came in this evening to give us a report of progress as to where they've been over the past 4 or 5 months. I'll try and give you just the snapshot of what they told us, but basically they've gone about the city interviewing individuals, organizations, from Cool Organization Board to youth organizations, UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community, the Artist League of Lowell, individual artists, and so forth. And they're not done yet. They intend to continue to do these interviews to create and collect data. They've created a database that hopefully the city can utilize later. And they're approaching this report in 3 phases. They expect the report to be completed sometime late spring. They mentioned April of 2007. And are looking to not only update the cultural plan, but they've made certain observations and they'll make certain recommendations in this report. One thing that is clear that there are recurring themes in what they're hearing. There's issues about the downtown, which and this issue kind of crosses not just this subcommittee, but many subcommittees and work of the council. The gateways, transportation, the idea of marketing. These institutions, the cultural institutions, are very fragile in terms of their own individual sustainability. And so the information that they're gathering, we look forward to hearing from them as far as specific recommendations, things that the city may be able to implement going forward. There's some concern about in terms of some of the artists who've recently come to Lowell. I think they want to feel part of what's going on in Lowell and also feel that the city is supportive of their endeavors. And so those needs are being discussed and I expect will be addressed. But the good news, I think, and these consultants have worked all over the country. Some of the important things that they've pointed out is that Lowell has so many organizations, so many assets, cultural assets, and there are fine-tuning and things that maybe can be done, not just part of it being a marketing sort of approach, but also how do we best utilize those assets and how do we best utilize them from an economic development perspective. So that's just a brief overview of some of the things they touched on with us. I know, and Councilor Mercier may have some other comments to add, but what we would expect is that in February 2007, they'll be back to give a presentation to the subcommittee and into the task force, the broader group, and the Artist League of Lowell and so forth, the art both performing and visual artists across the city, mainly to not only involve them, update them, but have their participation so that they are a part of this plan, because if it is going to work, one thing that they have stressed repeatedly is that people have to buy into this and people have to be part of making this a success if there's going to be a cultural plan that's adopted by the city in going forward. So that's a report of progress. I would expect sometime in February to be back with another report after we've received more information and are further down the road in terms of what the consultants have done. So,
okay. Thank you. Anything further on that report? Councilor Armin Mercier?
I would just like to move that we accept the report as a report of progress. The chair really indicated what took place. It's only phase one. We're looking forward to phase two, which is going to be given to us sometimes in February, and hopefully by May there'll be a final recommendation for the council to consider. And they're also going to be meeting with the administration during budget time, because there are some issues here that would require some budgetary decisions. So I would move that we accept the report as a report of progress.
Okay, so moved by Councilor Armin Mercier, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The report is accepted. Under petitions, there is one petition from Attorney James Flood on behalf of BPV Lowell LLC requesting an extension of the Artist Overlay District to include property at 150, 200, and 250 Western Avenue. I believe this matter is to be referred to the manager and the law department for report and recommendation, and there is somebody who would like to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Council, my name is Carl Fry. I'm the owner of the building at known as 122 Western Avenue, where we have over 100 artists working in studios today. We acquired the building in a sale-leaseback transaction from Collins and Aikman a little over 2 years ago. They were the successor to Joan Fabrics, a firm that was well known to the city. Unfortunately, this purchase was intended to be simply a financial transaction, but the firm filed bankruptcy 6 months after we acquired the building. We've been busy since then, if you'll pardon the expression, making chicken salad out of chicken shit. Since that time, we have worked very hard with Matt Coggins and his staff, and we've been quite successful in backfilling the space left empty by Collins and Aikman. We filled up about 2/3 of the building with tenants from Lowell who otherwise might have been asked or would have been required to leave the city for lack of ability to find affordable space. The largest and most active group of tenants have been artists. We presently have 3 floors of artists in the building, occupying over 100 working studios. It is by far the largest venue for the Open Studios event every September, and the building is open the first Saturday of every month. All of the artists have their studios open to the public for display and sale of their artwork. Our petition, which we hope you will refer out for consideration, is to extend the Artist Overlay District to include just the building. The Artist Overlay District presently touches the street that the building adjoins, and a small increase in the district would include the building. That would enable us to have 36 live-work studios added to the 100 working studios that we have in the building. The majority of the artist studios we have in the building now rent for less than $300 a month. We have received tremendous support from the arts community. And in fact, it was mentioned tonight that there is an artist association that's grown up around the building. They have formed themselves to interact with us as their landlord. It's a very friendly relationship, and we have a very high level of support amongst that group for this petition. We will come back and make a presentation to the planning board, which I know will receive your referral to assist them in their consideration of the petition, and we will come back before you as soon as you're able to get the petition on your agenda for consideration. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and we're happy to provide a tour of the building at any time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fry. Councilor Donahue?
Thank you. I guess it would be a question to Mr. Fry. Have one matter that's been brought to my attention, and I'd be interested to know what you think, is opening up Western Ave. Have you heard complaints about that, or?
Yeah, especially now that there's very little truck traffic on the street because Collins and Aikman is gone. It would be terrific to reopen the grade crossing at the end of Western Avenue and tie it back into, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the street, but it's just after Thorndike makes a hard right and becomes Dutton. There's that little side street that goes by Kazanjian Brothers.
Right.
That would be a great pedestrian access to the building.
It's something that, especially because you're getting more traffic down there for the studios and so forth, that I've received some calls about just recently, and maybe it's because you had a petition on, I'm not sure, but.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do on that is when we come back before the council, when you're considering the petition, I will contact Gulliford Transportation in the meantime, and I'll see what they have to say about reopening that grade crossing. If not for vehicles, for pedestrian access.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I
very
don't know
easy to walk to
know
downtown.
what's involved, or what the legalities are. Maybe that's something being referred to the law department. We can take a look at, but it's a question that's been raised, and especially if
It would be a great
if
asset
we're
to the community.
expanding the district, if we can look at that, because it's not being used for the original purposes intended.
Councillor Elliott, did you have questions?
I was just going to ask parking, you're adding 36 more units. Is parking going to be included as part of your plan?
Yeah, we actually, that's a very unusual mill complex in that we have an acre of land that we own, a vacant acre paved for parking between our building and the power plant on Western Avenue. So as part of a survey that we're having done of the building right now, being done by a local firm whose name slips my mind, I'm sorry, they'll be doing a complete parking count for the building. Compared to most mill complexes, we're way overparked.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've been informed by the solicitor that the proper motion is probably to refer to the planning board and to the city manager for report and recommendation. So moved by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you for your courtesy, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you. Okay, next item on the agenda, the motions. The first by Councilor Rita Mercier. City Council requests the city manager have the law department draw the proper vote for a 60-day trial for parking on one side only on Madison Street. Second by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a motion where the gentleman came to my home very concerned about this particular Madison Street that he lives on. It's a very narrow dead-end street off of Gorham Street that goes up in a hill. There's 3 homes on that particular street, but the house in the middle is a 2-unit apartment complex, and they tend to have between 8 and 10 cars there with the company that they have. Therefore, they park on the other side of the street, and if an emergency vehicle needed to get through, which could have been the case on one particular night, it is unable to do that. Having said that, people call the police, and the police hands are tied because there are no laws on the books that says it's a parking on one side of the street. So literally, you can park wherever you can park. I don't think that's right in this particular street. So I'd like to have a 60-day trial to just park on one side of the street, and the side that I'm indicating is in front of your home. The other side, there's no houses there. It's a fence, and if you look over, you'd see the highway. So that's the request right there. And if I could suspend the rules and bring in another motion segued to that similar that I got just Saturday from Captain Smith from the Salvation Army, regarding parking, regarding traffic as well, if I could do
All right,
that.
let's deal with this one first, though. Anything further on this motion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. It's a motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Rita Mercier on a traffic-related
Yes, similar.
matter, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercier. Any objection to suspending the rules? Rules are suspended for that
Thank you.
purpose. Councilor
Now,
Rita
this
Mercier.
could have probably waited till next week, but considering we're so close to the holidays, I wanted to bring this in a timely fashion. This is a request to put stop signs specifically on Arbor Road that goes onto Andover Street. The reason I say that is because the captains live on the corner of Andover Street and Arbor Road, and if it's a dark night with a mist in the air or rain, cars tend to not see a stop sign and go right through. If you see the road extended across Andover Street and there's not a house there, people are going straight across without realizing that you're coming onto Andover Street. And there was a very bad accident there the other night, and this is something not unusual at that particular situation. The reason I'm bringing this forward, I can remember my colleagues like a year ago or two when Councilor Mercier brought in similar motions to Bridge Street, side streets coming onto Bridge Street. If you're coming on the side streets and you're heading to Andover Street, you can see that if there's a house there, you know that it's probably a main street you're coming to. But if the roadway continues, you're almost thinking that you're passing by a driveway, someone's driveway. It's really easy to mistake that. So I think it's imperative for the safety of people that are not familiar with the section of the city, that we have stop signs. And not every street needs a stop sign, but Arbor Road is one that does. Garden Road is another one that does. There are certain streets coming onto Andover Street where there are houses right there, so you know that you're not going to go any further. But it is a dangerous situation if you're unfamiliar with the roadway, and I can see that happening because it happened the other night when it was very dark and misty and stuff, and people that are not familiar would just go right across, and it has happened. So if we could have, like, Jeff Gomes, the traffic engineer, take a look along the side roads coming into Andover Street on the right-hand side. The left, I think, there are a number of streets that have the stop signs already, but there are a few that don't. If we could just go over that and have the traffic engineer move accordingly to what he's suggesting, there are other streets. So that's my motion on that. Thank you for letting me say it.
So moved by Councilor Rita Mercier, seconded by Councilor Caulfield. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Councilor Armin Mercier. City Council requests the city manager have the Division of Planning and Development provide a report on the Pathfinders project on Rock Street.
Second.
Second by Councilor Caulfield. Councilor Armin Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to amend that to include a report from the police department on all the calls at that location. As we all know, or maybe a lot of people don't know, there's a group home on the corner of Rock and Willie. And there's been an awful lot of incidents taking place at that home. And it's my understanding that there's a petition before the planning board to increase that by 12 more units, and that it may even have some funds allocated to it from the community block grant money. That's the reason I'm asking the DPD for a report, because this is a stone throw from a Stocklosa school. There's been an awful lot of complaints about the activity in that group home, and I don't see at this point the wisdom of allowing any type of extension that would add more problems to that. But not knowing all the facts, that's why I made the motion to have the DPD and now also the police department, because they respond there quite often. There are all sorts of problems there. The neighbors are upset about it, and so I'd like to have a report so that we can hone in on this when it comes before the planning board.
Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the feelings of Councilor Armin Mercier and his sentiments about this project, this proposal. I have received many phone calls from the residents on Rock Street and many residents who own property on Rock Street, and they are not too happy about this project, and neither am I. And as Councilor Mercier indicated, the school is probably 150 yards away. And you know, Mr. Manager, we do open up our arms. Councilor Elliott brought this out a couple of weeks ago. We're constantly opening our arms to help people. It's time for the suburbs and other people to do the same. And we're being inundated with these particular homes. And it's not fair to the residents who live on that street or the residents who own property on that street.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. As part of that plan report, Mr. Manager, could we take a look at the acre plan to see, you know, if this particular piece of property, what the plans are, and, you know, is it part, you know, was there, is there a reason to expand, considering the proximity of the school to, you know, the group home was there long before the school was there, but, you know, how does this fit into our overall plan over there, as well as if, as part of this report, if there's no objection to the maker of the motion, that I continue to hear concerns and concerns about a potential methadone clinic located just a short ways, a block or two down the road on Fletcher and Rock Street. So if, you know, sort of similar situations that it's so close to that school, to get a report on both.
Okay. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion, first, any objection to the amendments by anybody?
No, not at all.
All those in favor of the motion as amended, say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. The next two motions are mine. Any objection for me taking them from here?
No, I think you should sit down.
Okay. City Council requests the city manager have the law department draw the proper vote and proper department place a 15-minute parking sign in front of 276 Chelmsford Street, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercier. I think the motion speaks for itself. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion is also mine. City Council requests the city manager have the law department draw the proper vote and take appropriate action to dedicate the basketball court at Commonwealth Avenue Playground for Thomas Hebert. Second by Councilor Armin Mercier. Just briefly, Mr. Hebert is a longtime resident and user and advocate for this playground. This is one that's undergoing renovation after many years due to the efforts of both the city and the neighborhood group who've raised some funds for this. And both many neighborhood residents as well as Commissioner Bellegarde thought this would be an appropriate recognition for Mr. Hebert. I'll have more to say about him if the matter is approved and comes back for a formal vote. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. And one last housekeeping matter. I know under prior mayors it had been the practice to cancel city council meetings around the holiday season. The next two meetings are for December 26th and January 2nd. I've polled some of the councilors. Certainly I didn't get to everybody. The clerk has also asked for some, whether there'd be any willingness to cancel those two meetings. If there became pressing business, of course, we could always reconvene a special meeting if that were necessary. Is there a motion to so? What's the wish of the council as far as that goes?
Move approval.
Motion to cancel the next two meetings of December 26th and January 2nd by Councilor Milanazzo, second by Councilor Caulfield. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Those two meetings will be canceled with the understanding that if, Mr. Manager, if something becomes pressing and can't wait, we will just reconvene a special meeting.
Move adjourn.
Okay. I'm sorry, Councilor Caulfield.
Very briefly, Councilor. No, on behalf of the Salvation Army, Mr. Manager, we would like to thank you and the City of Lowell for allowing us to use the Smith-Baker building. And we also want to thank my colleagues and everyone who called in Saturday with donations. Mr. Manager, you called in, the mayor was there, and many of my colleagues called in as well. That was very successful because of the leadership of Warren Shaw, Freddie Simon, and a litany of people. $50,400 has been raised so far. Over 600 families were serviced Friday and Saturday. They received their toys, the food, the clothing, etc. 600 families who would not have a Christmas without the input of the Salvation Army and without the input of the compassion of the people of the city and the compassion of my colleagues. And I just want to thank everyone for being involved. Thank you.
Okay.
I want to thank the Lowell Sun and WCAP. I neglected to thank them. The Lowell Sun, thank you very much, and WCAP.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. Also, on behalf of the City Council and the School Committee, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. We will entertain Councilor Mercier's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? We stand adjourned.